Hello there and welcome to Disarray, a calm creative corner of YouTube. And in today's video I'm going to be making my interpretation of WONKA, and I was just really drawn to making this character actually because I just really fancied making somebody with a load of texture and colours going on. So obviously this character kind of meets the criteria there, so yeah, I just fancied giving it a go. So to start I need to work on WONKA's face, and of course he's played by Timothée Chalamet, who has the most incredible bone structure, and that was another reason why I wanted to give this character a go, because he's got such a unique kind of bone structure going on, hasn't he? It's a very unique look that he's got. So just going to start by building the face here. And a bit of a spoiler, I didn't quite get the likeness that I was after at the end of this project, but you know, it was just really nice to have a go nonetheless. It's just, you know, the way of creative work really. Sometimes you really hit a likeness and other times not so much, but it's always good fun, you know, the process along the way anyway, so it's yeah, always worthwhile. So I'll just add his ears. And now I'm going to chop his head off. Well, the top of his head anyway. I haven't gone mad. I've had to remove it because he's going to be wearing a hat at the end of the project, or near the end of the project. And now I can move on to the base. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple with some white polymer clay before moving on to his boots. And adding in some detail with my ball tool here. And incidentally, I do have a list of the tools that I use pretty frequently down below in description. So now I can move on to his trousers, and they're, you know, very simple in design. So I'll add those once I've put on the boots first of all, and add on a dot of liquid Fimo just so everything kind of bakes well together. So I can add those on now. I'd be interested to know actually if you've seen WONKA, what you thought of it. I do want to see it at some point, but obviously I'll need to wait until the movie's streaming now, so I'll certainly be looking out for that one once it's available. So before I move on, I'll just need to bake Timothy's head and his trousers here. So like many people, I am a huge fan of Gene Wilder's interpretation of Willy Wonka, and crikey, who isn't, you know, it's such an iconic role, and for me it's just one of the best children's films out there. So of course I'm really interested to see what they've come up with in terms of a story for the prequel, so we can see where Willy Wonka has come from. And incidentally, I love pretty much all of Gene Wilder's films as well. I did see The Producers for the first time last week, and gosh, it was just really good. It's one of those films that for whatever reason is always put on really late at night, so I've never been able to get past the blue blankie scene, and if you've seen the film, you know which scene it is. So yeah, it was finally nice to be able to see the film in its entirety. So now I'm making a cravat for WONKA here, and as you've seen, it was just simply put together just with a few colours to create a flower design. I don't think it is actually a flower design on his actual cravat, but you know, just going for a basic kind of abstract design really, to keep it nice and simple. And because it comes out of his waistcoat at the bottom, I'm just adding on a trail here as well, and just press that in with my acrylic roller here. And now I can add on his green waistcoat. I think he actually wears 2 waistcoats, so there's a suggestion of 2 here, with the brown coming underneath the green. And now I can move on to his iconic coat, so I'll just put a load of clay through the pasta machine here. And as a bit of detail, I know that his coat has a lining that's fairly similar in colour to his cravat, so I'm just creating another very basic abstract detail here with some blue and some raspberry coloured clay. And I'm just going to cut that to size with my blade cutting tool here and just add that onto the back of the coat like so. And I know it does actually cover his whole coat lining, but you know, I don't think there's a real need for it on my model. I think as long as you can see just a suggestion of it behind his trousers, that's enough. And now I can move on to his arms, so just need to make a couple of hands to be able to create his arms like so. And just take the ends off. And cut those to size so I can add those on like so. And I know that WONKA does have a like a walking cane, and I did actually make one, but I completely forgot about it when I was putting the model together, so apologies for that. You know, you win some, you lose some, don't you? So I'll just work on his collar for his coats, and I'll add on some teeny tiny details. I think it's embroidered just on one side of his coat, or certainly by looking at the promo images anyway, that looks to be the case. It's always quite difficult working with a character that you've not actually seen in film, because you miss out on the, you know, the tiny details, so I'm doing the best that I can. So now I can move on to WONKA's hair, and Timothy's got some incredible hair going on, so that's nice to replicate. And now I can add his hats. And here he is, all done. As I said before, I didn't quite hit the likeness on this one, but it was a really enjoyable model to work on nonetheless. I'd love to hear your suggestions, incidentally, of famous people from pop culture that you'd like to see me recreate in a clay disarray style, so let me have those down below. Give it a like if you got this far, and I'll see you again soon.